Okay, for this part, before we get into making the complex object, the broom, let's just get comfortable with the tools to manipulate these the sub-object polygon. Okay, so let's delete what we have here, and we'll make a new box right in the middle. Okay, just like this, and right-click, convert to editable poly. So I can manipulate these faces, which we know. I can delete these faces, leaving us with an empty box. I can delete vertices, which has somewhat unfortunate consequences sometimes. Okay. Deletion's useful, but ultimately you can't really create by deleting, not easily at least. So we need to be able to create. So we've already seen extrude as an option. And extrude is a fine option, and you could set up a hotkey and do it, but the problem is that going back and forth between extrude and move, rotate, and scale as you're modeling. So, I want to model some sort of arch here. So I'm going to need to extrude, and then I rotate and move, and I'm going to have to extrude again, and then go back to the move tool. And it's sort of a lot of tool switching. Okay, so we're going to look at another way, and I call this the Play-Doh extrusion method here. So we're going to delete this face, this top face, and I'm going to come to that border selection that we sort of skipped through before, and I'm going to click this border. So you can only click borders that are open. Okay, there's only one border on this object. The other borders are all closed, or the other edges are all closed. But I can click this border. And the cool thing here is if I hold down the Shift key and drag around, I will extrude geometry. Okay, it doesn't have a cap here, but we'll learn how to fix that later. But this is otherwise basically the same as extrusion. Okay, it's still hollow on the inside, which is actually what we want. And these faces are nicely done. So the power of this is leaving my pinky near the Shift key and my fingers on the W, E, and R key. I can quickly, I'm going to come to my front view here, the F key. I can quickly spin through this, move, hold down Shift, drag, rotate, move, hold down Shift, drag, rotate. I can rapidly create a complex shape here, sort of arch. Okay, and getting just a perfect, let's imagine that I actually wanted a perfect 90 degree. This is a handy little tool. Getting it just right is kind of a pain, and you could come up here and right click and set it to 90, and that works, or I guess set it to 0 in this case. That works okay. A better way, an easier way, is to use these tools right here, make planar X, Y, and Z. So we want to zero out this sort of, we want to make it all the same, okay, on the X axis, the X values. We want to equalize the X values. So all the X values of all the points on this are now the same. Okay, super handy. So I want to make this sort of shape, an arch that comes up and then turns the other direction. So I got this already. Now, how do I turn the other direction? Okay, so same way. I come back to my move tool, I pull out a bit, come back to my rotate tool, and I twist it out. Okay, hold down Shift and drag, rotate. Oh, I messed it up. Undo. Okay, there we go. Hold down Shift and drag, rotate. And instead of the front view now, right, I actually want maybe the left view, L, right? Yeah, L. Okay, hold down Shift, hold down shift, and rotate, and I want to spin it this way now. Again, undo. I want to equalize it this way. I want to sort of make it flush. Okay, so this is what? This is Y now. It was X, and now it's Y. Okay, so now I have this shape, much like that little air duct that we see. Comes up and then makes a twist. Okay, it's a pretty complex shape that we've created, but it's really cleanly created, and I created it exactly the way I wanted. Okay, we can easily now come here, select border. We take this and we use cap to close out this shape. Cap is super handy. It's quick. It should only be used to make a single quadrilateral, though, a single four-sided shape. Okay. If I have, say, through whatever reason, I'm missing these faces, okay, don't come in here with border and hit cap. It will put a cap here, but it will mess you up down the road. Okay, this is now a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided shape, and we want to avoid using anything but 3- and 4-sided shapes if at all possible. And trust me, it is always possible. Okay, so 4-sided shapes are preferred because they deal really nice with those mesh smooth operations we saw. 3-sided shapes are pretty good. 5 and 6 and more sided shapes will mess us up in the future. Okay, let's see here. Turbo smooth. Okay, you see how the turbo smooth now is trying to sort of fix this, and it's leading to this weird cuspal point here. This sort of where all the roads meet here, and it's working okay here because this is a pretty flat object. But if we had any sort of, say, ripple, if we applied some sort of ripple to this, the ripple would be nice and even and nice and even, and then it would get to here and it would crease in a unexpected way. Okay, so we want to avoid using cap to cap shapes like this. Okay, so we'll delete this. So how do we fix shapes like this? It's an excellent question, right? We're going to use bridge. And bridge uses the edge selection tool, and we use control click to select. Oh, let me see my selection tool. Use select and select. These are opposite edges. Okay, this one's over here and this one's over here. You can see here the quadrilateral that will be created, the 4-sided shape. So I have opposite edges and I click bridge. It welded it all up. It's nice and perfect. Now I could either select border and do this, or again, opposite edges. Oh, deselect. Opposite edges and click bridge. Click off deselect. Okay, so now I have that nice smooth shape. Come out of edge selection, turn turbo smooth back on, and we see that nice continual curve. Okay, so we got shift and move to make new geometry, the move and rotate tool. Okay, the other one that we didn't see here real quick is using edge selection. You can double click to get an entire loop. Okay, and you may find yourself sort of modeling, and then you're like, man, I wish I had another curve here. It just, it doesn't look right. It's not. I want it to be more curved. Okay, so if you find yourself in that position, the one that we really like here, the one that's super easy, is Swift Loop. You just click on Swift Loop, and you click on an edge, and it'll draw a loop right there for you. Okay, you turn it back off, and I can move this loop now wherever I want. It's just like these. Okay, it behaves just like all the other loops. Got a little crazy there. Come back to perspective here. Okay, so it functions just like all the other loops. Really handy, Swift Loop. Okay, so in the next one, we're going to start our broom. Thank you very much.